question many people ask. What would have happened if Rengoku had accepted Akaza's offer? What would his potential as a demon have been? And more importantly, where would he have ranked among the moons? It's clear that we're simply kicking off the biggest what if of Kimetsu no Yaiba. Why is it the biggest what if? Because Rengoku lowering himself to become a demon is the most impossible thing that could have happened. His integrity, his purity of soul, and his unparalleled sense of justice prevented him in every way from lowering himself to become a demon in the service of King Kibutsuji Muzan. However, it's very interesting to speculate about his power should he have done so. To talk about how strong he would have been as a demon, we must first place him among the pillars. Throughout the episodes of the anime, we are gradually learning about the power of the various pillars. We've been able to see Giyu, even if only for a few moments. We've seen Tengen in action, and now we're getting a good look at Tokito and Kanroji. We've admired our Rengoku in every way through the Mugen Train arc. We've actually had an exhaustive demonstration of his power. Extremely strong both in the art of this sword through his katana and physically in terms of muscle and endurance. Akaza himself praises him a lot during the fight and repeatedly asks him to join the ranks of the demons. From what we've seen in both the anime and the manga, I consider Rengoku superior to pillars like Shinobu, Giyu, and Tengen, for example. But it's clear that he's not the strongest pillar. Just look at the final fight with the first upper moon Kokushibo. Rengoku is clearly inferior to Gyomei and Shinazugawa. I would generally have considered Rengoku superior to Tokito as well, but the facts show us otherwise, and I'll explain why. Rengoku had more experience on his side, which combined with his sword art, allowed him to corner Akaza, the third upper moon. However, when we talk about Tokito, we're talking about a young man with less experience, but also a swordsman who became a pillar in 2 months of training and at Tanjiro's age. But most importantly, Tokito unlocked the mark, something Rengoku did not do. So the conclusion can be drawn quite easily. Of the 9 pillars, Rengoku can be considered the 4th strongest. And so how does this translate into demon form? Let's do the same analysis, but from the other side. Unlike the pillars, the moons represent a number that also indicates their hierarchy in terms of strength. The first upper moon is stronger than all the others, therefore the 6th is the weakest. That's why it's relatively easy to rank them, although it pains me to say that we haven't seen them all at 100% of their power. This is because their battles were decided more by strategy and various combined attacks, rather than violent one-on-one combat. So from the strongest to the weakest, the upper moons are Kokushibo, Doma, Akaza, Hantengu, Gyoko, and the duo Jutaro and Daki. However, I've always had a serious doubt about how it would have ended if Doma and Akaza had fought head-to-head, and this doubt arises from an element that has proven to be crucial for a demon's strength: willpower. The willpower factor allowed Akaza to regrow his head despite being decapitated, and allowed Kokushibo to overcome death by decapitation even though he was fighting against 3 pillars at the same time. And he only lost when his willpower collapsed because he saw his reflection in the katana. This means that Rengoku would have been incredibly strong as a demon because his sense of willpower was incredibly strong as a human, and is perhaps the element that most distinguished him, especially due to his mother's teachings. He was always accustomed to a pure and generous upbringing. You must help those who are weak if you are fortunate enough to be born strong. The willpower that was allowing Rengoku to defeat Akaza would have translated into his greatest strength as a demon, and thus as an upper moon. Moreover, if we combine this with his sword technique, it results in an incredibly strong fighter. Personally, I believe he wouldn't have been so superior to Kokushibo, as the latter was the 2nd strongest swordsman in history as a human, second only to his brother Yoriichi. But I believe that Rengoku would have easily dethroned Doma from the role of the 2nd upper moon, thus pushing Akaza down to the role of the 4th moon. It would have been amusing. Imagine Akaza's face bringing a new member of the demons before Muzan and being surpassed on the spot. He was already annoyed by Doma, let alone by someone he himself had recommended to the Demon King. Therefore, I am absolutely convinced that Rengoku's physical and technical abilities, combined with his unwavering willpower, would have placed him, in case of joining the demons, in second place among the upper moons, behind only Kokushibo and clearly the demon King Muzan himself. Who knows, maybe he would have been capable of creating a breathing style like Kokushibo did, despite being a demon, and this would have been another element that would have strengthened his position. But fortunately, we're talking about a possibility that didn't materialize, and I'm personally happy about that. I think no one could have supported such a shameful scenario. The purest, the most generous of all, Rengoku Kyojuro, relegated to the role of a demon serving Muzan. Luckily, it's just a dystopian scenario and nothing more. And what do you think? Would you have placed Rengoku lower or higher in the ranking of the moons? I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. For now, folks, that's all. We'll see each other next time. Sayonara.